Hello, in keeping with the international flavour of this programme, we're going to take a look at two databases in the States, CompuServe and what I'm logged into now, which is The Source. Now, The Source is a business database which has tons and tons of news and all sorts of other information which will be useful to businesses. It has very powerful searching facilities, and we could have a look at those now by going into the database owned by the Associated Press. To do this, I just type AP and wait while it logs me through to that area, which is done quite quickly for once. Okay, we have a number of different things we can search under. I'll choose option 5 here to search all stories. We have a number of ways of searching as well. We can search by keyword, by date, or if we press return here, we get all the stories on the whole system. Now, obviously, getting all the stories will be an awful lot, so let's just search for by keyword. And, well, let's try looking under Atari. They're on the programme today. Now, while that's searching, oh no, we've just got to enter the date here. Here I'll enter the date, well, let's look at stories from the beginning of this year, so I'll enter 1/1 for the 1st of January onwards. Now, while that's searching, I'll tell you how much it costs. To join up, it costs $50 as a registration fee. Thereafter, it's $16 per hour in prime time and $8 per hour in cheap time, and these times are local to the United Kingdom. Now, we can see the story it's produced here is in fact about Warner Communications, who of course used to own Atari before Jack Tramiel bought it, and it's just about their financial results. Now, another system in the States which is extremely popular is CompuServe. Now, CompuServe is aimed squarely at the consumer market, and it's actually based in Columbus, Ohio, on 40 DEC 10 mainframe computers, so it's pretty large, as you can imagine. Now, the most interesting feature of the whole system is the CB simulator. You've heard of citizen bands radio. Well, this is citizen band computing. Users can chat to each other through their keyboards. Now, I'll go onto that system by typing go CB1. And it pauses while it changes from one mainframe to another. Okay, now, just as in CB radio, everyone has a handle. I go on under the handle UK Ben, because I'm calling from the UK. Again, as with CB radio, we also have channels. So let's take a look on channel 8, where there are in fact 12 users. Just set it all up. Okay, now I'll type hi there, and hopefully get a print out of who's on. Okay, now let's say hello to Beckett, who's one of the people who's on the system. As you notice, as I type things in, when messages come through, they tend to get jumbled up with what I'm typing. You do get used to this after a while, but it does, yeah, well, for new users, it's particularly confusing. Ask where all they're calling from. This pause is when my message is taken from what I've typed in, and it's then sent to all their different terminals around the place. Okay, there's someone calling from Connecticut there, Pennsylvania, San Francisco, and so on. I'll tell her that I'm calling from London. Oh, I missed out in there. Well, CompuServe costs $20 to join up, and thereafter it costs $12 per hour at expensive time and $6 per hour at cheap time. Now, these times are local to New York, so you have to remember the time differences. One of the problems with trying to join CompuServe is that at the moment they have an anti-British policy, it seems. So to get hold of a starter ID, you'll have to either go to the States or get a dealer in the States to send you one over to Britain.
Well, while Ben's been chit-chatting to the States, Guy's been trying to find out the latest news over here. So what's new this week, Guy?
Well, as you can see, they've given me a robot to play with, Jane. This one costs about £80, and it's for anybody who is jealous of our little ZX81 trundle, because this one works very well with the Spectrum. It's primarily meant to work with Logo, the language, as a sort of super turtle, but its designers say you can use it for pretty useful things. One of the things they have in mind is a dressmaking program for it. You pick your design from your patterns, you feed in your measurements, and it draws the pattern on paper with that little pen it has there. Robin Bradbeer, the man behind the robot, says he hopes to do for robotics what Sinclair did for micros. I suppose you could say he started out on the right foot, apart from the low price. He did promise me he'd have this ready in February, but won't actually deliver until April. From America, exciting news about Atari, from our reporter John Dvorak. Tramiel has reportedly found a way of getting cheap hard disks for the machine. Apparently he's found a supply of 15 megabyte disks from Tandon. It seems he's buying defective 20 megabyte drives, which can be mapped by the operating system to find 15 undefective megabytes. And the word is that Jack is paying $85 per drive. So it hardly matters if performance is a little below par. Dvorak also has first reports of the new IBM PC, the Model 2. We don't have much on it yet, but he believes it uses the same chip IBM puts in the AT, that's the 8286. Fascinating if it's true. It doesn't use the Sony 3.5-inch discs, but the floppy 3.25-inch ones, which nobody else has touched. The Sony drives are an option. Do you remember last week I mentioned Acorn was in trouble?
I remember that every week you mentioned somebody's in trouble, yeah.
Well, I hope you also remember I said that Olivetti was prowling around looking to buy the company. Well, Olivetti has come to the rescue and has taken control of Acorn. And the 4 divisional managing directors I mentioned last week have been appointed, which is very good news. When Acorn was just a little seedling, I think it made sense for just the 2 people to run it. But the size it is today, it's really time the financial controller was allowed to sign the checks, which my source tell me he wasn't, unlikely though it sounds. Mind you, bigger companies can get it wrong. Commodore 64 buyers, for example, should be aware of the new tape players from that company. They have a small component change, and the result is that any games which use fast load techniques may not work. All the turbo load companies are now frantically rewriting their routines, but for several weeks we can expect some misery at shop counters as people with mismatched hardware and software queue up for refunds. Still, we can end on some good news. The latest versions of Sinclair's QL software, these are the programs supplied free with the QL, are now available. They're faster, more reliable, and very much improved, and they've been sent out to QL club members over the weekend. They have priority on these. I hope they're grateful. I gather some of them complained recently when they saw copies of a chess program in the shops that they still hadn't had their priority deliveries through. Apparently somebody at Sinclair told them that of course they were entitled to order these things early, but, he added, there was nothing in the membership contract to say they'd actually be delivered early, was there?
It's inconceivable, isn't it? In any other area of consumer relationship with a customer, that sort of thing would never happen. But in computing, apparently, it happens all the time. It's absolutely staggering.